Hey, Ecom Masters, welcome to the show. My name is Mike Weiss, Chief Community Officer at Dropified, and as a thank you for tuning in to the e-commerce mastery show, we've put together a special podcast-only e-commerce training just for you. Now, in it, you're going to learn the ins and outs of how to set up your own brand of products where you can literally put your own labels, brands, logos, and messaging over top of top-selling, in-demand, high-quality, high-profit products that are exclusive to supplements, CBD, skincare, and pet products. And here's the key: no minimum order quantities, no upfront inventory costs. And I'm going to show you how to do this in literally minutes. Now, guys, we refined these principles over the course of 5 years with working with over 100,000 of our own e-compreneur customers just like you. So to get immediate 100% free access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or you can just click the link below and you're going to learn exactly how we do this in just minutes. Thank you so much for being part of the Dropified family and enjoy the show. Welcome everybody to e-commerce mastery. My name is Mike Weiss. I'm the Chief Community Officer here at Dropified. And today, I cannot tell you how excited I am for our special guest, Clint Arthur. Clint is a New York City's #1 talk station, 77 in WABC radio, to help entrepreneurs and experts do more, be more, and have more. He has over 20 years experience running his own gourmet food company, which I'd love to know, even how to cook something here, because I feel like it's a lost art on so many people. But anyway, that's not what we're going to just focus on. Clint's also #1 bestsellers include Breakthrough Your Upper Limits on TV, followed by What They Teach You at the Wharton Business School, and then Speaking Game, 7-Figure Speaker Secrets Revealed, and his latest manifesto, Celebrity Entrepreneurship. He has since appeared on over 65 local and national TV news and talk shows across America, including The Today Show, and has also helped clients book themselves on over 1,800 appearances since 2012. Clint, I think I got most of that right, but man, it is so awesome having you on this show. I cannot wait for folks to listen into this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the intro. I don't know where you got that intro. It's a little bit old. I personally have appeared on more than 110 television appearances now.
Oh my gosh.
And my students have booked themselves on more than 5,598 television appearances that I'm aware of so far, with ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. I've also arranged for my proteges to speak at very important places, including the Harvard Faculty Club, NASDAQ Stock Exchange, Coca-Cola, Mercedes, Porsche, ATTN, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I have upcoming events scheduled. And we were talking right before this interview about how you can't do live events these days. Well, I've been doing live events. I just did one at CNN Center with Dr. Oz and Evander Holyfield and the Surgeon General of the United States. And I have live events scheduled at the New York Academy of Medicine, the London Stock Exchange, and the Royal Society of Medicine. And, I specialize in doing the impossible, I know, but I don't think the world is impossible. I think everybody is just afraid to do anything. Yeah. And that's why they're not doing anything, because they're afraid to do anything, but I'm not afraid of anything. Okay.
Wow, man. Well, I apologize for the outdated intro there, but dude, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And so I want everyone right now who is listening, I need you to shut off your world. I need you to shut off your world. I need you to go to turn off your devices. I need you to get a pen and paper, because what you're going to be learning today is something that Clint does not bring to the masses. Okay. So if you're ready, 3, 2, 1, let me tell you what we're going to do before we dive in. So first thing, we're going to hear a little bit of Clint's story. We want to hear really from what does it mean to have a failed writing career? What is that? And where did that come from? Also, how did you get from that to being a celebrity entrepreneur? So that's where we're going to start. Next, we're going to talk about the secrets of conquering sales for your business, which is also going to include the 5 indispensable strategies to master marketing and grow your company. At the very end, it wouldn't be an e-commerce mastery show if it did not have a number one secret. So we are going to provide all of our listeners with the number one secret to how you can create meaning with a powerful story from your own life. You do not want to miss that. We also have amazing bonuses and giveaways, but we're going to wrap that up. Man, how's that all sound, Clint?
That's right up my alley, every single bit, especially the last part, because creating meaning in your life, that's really what it's all about. And I know exactly how to do that. So keep listening if you want to have the secret to having meaningful life experiences and creating more meaning in your life through your business.
Unbelievable. This is gonna be a lot of fun, dude. I can't wait just to let you go. So why don't we go ahead and start? I would love to hear your story. Tell us about your journey from having self-admitted failed writing career to now being a celebrity entrepreneur. What was that journey?
It's funny, I've come full circle in this whole entire thing, because when I was graduating from the Wharton Business School, I go home to get the attaboys from my parents. And what happens? They get into the biggest argument of all time. My dad storms out of the house, slams the door. I turn to my mom, I go, you know, Mom, the way he resents you all these years, have you been cheating on Dad? I'm thinking, where the heck did that question come from? I never thought that before my whole life. And then I'm thinking, what kind of rude son of a gun asked his mom a question like that? And then I'm thinking, why ain't you answering the question?
Yeah,
and then she goes, he's not your real father. Your real father was a doctor at the fertility clinic we went to for 6 years, and you look just like that guy.
Wow.
Hey, what, Mama?
Wow.
Seriously? Now, you have no idea how much of your self-identity is wrapped up into the fact that you think you know who your parents are. Because the very next day, my world was rocked, and I get on the phone and I call up the vice president at the investment bank on the 87th floor of #1 World Trade Center. I think that's where the plane went, right in. And I said, sir, thank you very much. I really appreciate the offer, but I've decided I don't want to be an investment banker anymore. And what did I do? Naturally, I ran off to Hollywood. Most people go to Hollywood to lose themselves. I went there to find myself, and I found myself becoming a very special person in Hollywood. I was the Wharton taxi driver. That's right. Where were you on December 31st, 1999? Were you at a party with family and friends? Were you getting some Y2K cash out of an ATM? I was behind the wheel of yellow cab number 6087. And in the back of my car that night were these two guys who were MBA interns at Goldman Sachs. And I'm like driving them to a party, listening in on their conversation. Of course. Hey man, did you hear about Mr. Carrera? They made him the last partner right before the Goldman Sachs IPO, and he cashed out $1 gazillion.
Oh my goodness.
And I turned around and I'm like, are you guys talking about Chris Carrera? How do you know Mr. Carrera? Chris Carrera was a pledge in my fraternity at the Wharton Business School.
Oh,
and yeah, no. And when it was all over, I go back to my little boat that I'm living in Marina Del Rey, and I climb into my bunk and I start counting up my money from the night, $513. And I'm thinking, where was Chris Carrera tonight? Partying at the Rainbow Room? I'm supposed to be somebody special.
Yeah.
And that was the night that I decided that 13 years of chasing the Hollywood dream was enough. Now, it's funny. I said I came full circle. There's my beautiful wife over there. Are you over there? Hello. Are you almost done over there? Are you almost done over there? Because I'm doing an interview right now. Oh, that's all right.
She's an integral part of this interview. That's the key.
She really is. Yeah. My beautiful wife and I there's two parts of how this just came full circle.
Sure.
When I was early on in my chasing the Hollywood dream odyssey, my best friend's father was a producer. He produced a couple little movies you might have heard of. Platoon, for which he won the Academy Award for Best Picture. The Fugitive with Harrison Ford.
Holy smokes.
And what was the other one that he produced? Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Murder at 1600. He did 29 studio feature films. He was the king of Hollywood. And during that whole odyssey, I started dating his daughter, And once I started dating the daughter, then I got invited to go with the family on a vacation to Acapulco.
Oh, wow.
And see what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
just told you, my beautiful wife and I, we spent the quarantine, like Acapulco.
Beautiful.
All right. All right. We're gonna circle back to how this
Right.
came full circle. Okay. But we spent the quarantine months in a villa in Acapulco. And we loved it so much that we started looking around at houses, and we just in the last few weeks closed the purchase on our own gigantic luxury villa in Acapulco that sleeps 20 people. And we've turned it into our own little live event center because as you
Right.
said, it's getting more and more difficult to do live events. So we wanted to have control of our own destiny. And now we've been hosting mastermind events for entrepreneurs at our villa in Acapulco. But it
Wow.
also comes full circle beyond that, because I told you that since August, I've done 9 live events for my clients. And we have our annual Christmas party happening in December, just in less than 2 weeks. It's going to be happening. And where's it going to be? At the Rainbow Room.
That is full circle.
It really has come full circle. You know,
Is Chris involved? Will Chris be there?
Chris Carrera is not involved, but you know, he really got quite wealthy at Goldman Sachs. And I
Yeah.
saw him a few years ago and I told him this story. He's like, wow, I'm really surprised to hear that because I like to stay really under the radar. And he goes, yeah, is everything okay now? I'm like, yeah, everything's okay now.
Oh my goodness.
I haven't been driving a cab in, it's amazing what you can accomplish in a decade or 20 years. You know, I quit writing that night on New Year's Eve of the Millennium. I said, it's not worth it anymore. I'm not going to write scripts anymore. I'm not going to go on auditions anymore. I just focused on making money. And the way I started making money is with gourmet food. And I started selling gourmet food to luxury resorts, casinos, hotels, a lot of them in Vegas. I'm here at Bellagio right now. Bellagio's been a client of mine since 2003. There was a point during the go-go days of, you know, 2005, 6, 7. Every piece of bread and butter at the Bellagio was buttered with my product. And that was a lot of butter. And and you know, through the course of the 2000s, I got quite fat and happy selling gourmet food, building real estate, and you know, I found myself fat and happy, but not really happy, just fat. I peaked out at 236 pounds, technically quite obese without even knowing it. And, you know, that was a real turning point in my life when I was at a men's self-help campfire on, let's see, it was like October of 2008. You know what was going on then in the world. And the shaman points at me across the yellow and orange crackling flames. You don't know it yet, but you're already dead. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I'm the most successful guy on this team. 8 years ago, I was driving a cab. Now I'm a millionaire. I was living on a little boat. Now I live in a mansion in the Hollywood Hills. You're already dead. You just don't know it. And I really didn't know what he was talking about, but I couldn't get it out of my mind. For weeks and weeks, I would wake up in the middle of the night. I'm already dead. What does he mean? And I didn't know what he was talking about. But then it came to be New Year's Day of 2009. I wake up, I pour myself a mimosa, and I sit down to write my list of goals for the new year, which is something I started doing once I became successful as a businessman instead of trying to be a writer and a movie star. And I asked myself a question that was inspired by the shaman. And that question was, what if this was going to be the last year of my life? What would I want to accomplish? And I was very surprised at what I wrote down because I was at a peak state moment. It was New Year's Day. And when you ask yourself powerful questions in peak state moments, it changes things. And I was really surprised that the first thing I wrote down on my list of goals for the year was I need to write my book about what I learned at the Wharton Business School that helped me to become successful as a businessman once I stopped being a writer chasing a dream. And I hadn't written anything in 8 years, but I wrote that book in 8 days. And then I self-published it, and I waited for all the sales to roll in. And boy, did they ever. In the first year of self-publishing my book, all 8 of those sales rolled in. And luckily for me, I did a smart thing. I got myself into mentorship. I started going to seminars, and I found a mentor. His name was Jack Canfield. And I said, Jack, how do you sell half a billion with a B, chicken soup for the soul books? And he goes, you got to be somebody special. People don't buy stuff just from anybody. They buy, especially books, from people who they are excited to buy stuff from people who are famous, and you got to get into media. And luckily for me, in December of 2009, I accidentally quit smoking pot through attending a raw vegan retreat to try to lose some weight.
Accidentally. I love that.
Yeah. One of the rules was, I know it's like anti-fashionable to not smoke pot today, with marijuana being and all drugs being legal everywhere. But, I've done it all. And I not only did I smoke the pot, I literally drank the bong water several times. And and I go to this raw vegan retreat, and the rules are no drinking or drug taking. So I quit both. And it's the first thing we do when we get home after the 2 weeks is my wife and I cook up a rack of lamb and crack open a nice bottle of French wine. I started drinking again, but I stayed quit off marijuana. And, you can draw your own conclusions, but 6 weeks later, I did my first television appearance.
Wow. What was it with?
That was with KJZZ Utah. It was a local TV show in Utah.
Wow.
See? And I had hired a publicist. I said, I don't care what it costs, get me on TV. I want to go on the Today Show. And she laughed at me. She's like, and when she stopped laughing at me, she said, Clint, you're a middle-aged guy nobody's ever heard of. You got a self-published book nobody's ever bought. You got no TV experience. They're never going to put you on the Today Show. You got to go on local TV. And luckily, I was smart enough to say, okay, let's see you get me on local TV. And she sent me to Utah. She sent me to Sacramento 2 times, and she sent me to Phoenix. And I showed all those clips to my wife. And I said, honey, what do you think? And she said, I think you suck.
My wife would tell me the same thing. You're not good.
Yeah, it's not good. So I go, okay, yeah, I agree, but I need to get better because my goal is to get on the Today Show. And if I'm ever going to get good enough to get on the Today Show, I need to do a lot more TV appearances. So I'm going to hire this lady. She was charging me $1,500 per appearance. I'm going to just hire this lady to get me 10 more. And my wife goes, whoa. Why do you keep hiring and paying this lady? Why don't you just book yourself on TV? I'm like, what? How do you book yourself on TV? And she didn't know, but she said, you're smart. You'll figure it out. So I woke up that morning at 2:30 in the morning, and I went up to my office and I started cold calling. I started like Googling TV stations around the country, anywhere that Southwest Airlines was flying. I could fly there cheap. So I looked at some places where they went, and they just kept hanging up on me. Don't call us, we'll call you. It took me 9.5 weeks to book my first TV appearance, and it was on WLOX, the ABC affiliate in Biloxi, Mississippi.
That's commitment, man. 9.5 weeks. I'm sure you were doing that day and night too. Like, I'm sure that you didn't stop.
Hey man, maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. The
results, I wouldn't say you're stupid from the results, but I'm sure you felt stupid at week 6.
I do have commitment, and I'm a persistent person. They say, I remember when I was chasing the Hollywood dream, when I got to the 10th year. Imagine that. You're going 10 years chasing the dream. You're supposed to be an overnight success in 10 years, right? That's what they say. And then I got to the 11th year, the 12th year. I finally quit after 13 years. So I'm definitely a persistent person. But my first year, I booked myself on 7 TV appearances. My second year, I booked 20 appearances.
Wow.
And if you do the math on that at 1,500 a piece, 1,500 times
Yeah.
27 is a lot of money.
Just under 30, just under, yeah.
And, you know, it's like catching a fish. And I, you know, along the way, I started noticing some things. I would go to conferences and I would post all these video clips of me on the different shows on my Facebook page or on my YouTube channel. And people started coming up to me at the conferences. Hey, man, you're really doing it.
Yeah.
Keep going. You're doing it. You're making it happen. And I'm like, you know, I'm still the same person. I'm not feeling any different, but people are looking at me different. And then they started asking me, how are you doing this, Clint? That was a good question of some of them. And I started teaching my friends how to book themselves on TV. And then I put together a little training program. And lo and behold, the training program for how to get on TV was the thing that people really wanted. And, you know, it had the first element of real, true entrepreneurial success. It helped me. Now, how did my gourmet food company become successful? Why was it successful? Because I offered a product that no one else offered. If you wanted a portion control, organic, really delicious piece of butter, I offered the only kind. Everything else in the marketplace is crap. When you go and you have bread and butter at a restaurant, if it's shiny, that means it's been melted. And that means it's going to taste like wax. You'll see next time you're in a restaurant or at a hotel.
Now it's in my head.
I know. If it's shiny, it's melted. They melted it into a mold to get it to be in that shape. All of mine are just handmade portion control pieces, and they're organic and they taste delicious, unlike everything that's been melted, frozen. So that unique positioning is really, really important. And then with my TV publicity training, one of my mentors, actually, he's the one who really opened my eyes to this whole situation. He goes, you know, what Clint is doing is really genius. And the reason it's really genius is it's following one of the laws straight out of the book, the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. And the law that I was following was this one. I wasn't the first person in publicity. So I put my foot one step out. One step out of the circle of publicity is TV publicity. I wasn't the first person in TV publicity, but I was one step out of that circle. I was the first person only teaching local TV publicity. How do you book yourself on local TV news and talk shows so that you can start going on small shows and work like in Utah or Biloxi, Mississippi, and work your way up through the ranks, just like a Broadway show doesn't start on Broadway. It starts out in Podunk, Alabama, and then it goes to Cincinnati, and then it goes to Sacramento, and then it goes to Las Vegas, and then it goes to, you know, working its way up through the cities to the bigger cities until it gets to Broadway. And that's my philosophy of TV publicity. And being the only person who teaches it, I was able to really create some prominence in the marketplace. And we just did our 48th celebrity launchpad. That's why we're here in Bellagio. We do some of them in Bellagio. We've done 48 of these events. And then we're doing the first one at our villa in April. We'll be hosting people down for our first celebrity launchpad in Acapulco. And it's a special experience because normally it's 4 days, like this one we just did. Everybody comes here, they pay for their own hotel.
Sure.
We provide lunches and snacks, but you pay for your other food mostly. You have to travel here. But in Acapulco and in Bellagio will be for my birthday next August. So if you want to come to my birthday party, come to that one. If you want to come to Acapulco, you're going to arrive in Acapulco on Tuesday. The training starts on Wednesday night, and then it goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you'll leave on Monday afternoon. So, and all that time, you have room and board included at our luxury villa in Acapulco. And lobster night is always a big hit.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Hi there, Ecom Masters. Mike Weiss here again with a friendly reminder that you've unlocked access to our exclusive podcast-only training on how to create your own supplement, CBD, pet, or skincare brand in just minutes, where we're gonna break down from A to Z exactly how to put your own design on top selling products and start selling in just minutes. It's incredible. Now, the principles that you're going to learn are exactly the same principles that we've used with our customers who did over $2 billion. That's right, with a B, $2 billion in sales last year alone. You cannot afford not to take me up on this free training. So to get immediate 100% complimentary access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or you can just click the link below in the show notes. I will see you soon. So then let me ask, so when folks, they hear about these amazing events, they're listening to you, this is an incredible story. I even love, there's just so much, it's funny because you're talking about trying to get booked on local, just your history of how you wanted to actually teach people how to get to where they wanted to go, but starting with local, TV shows and booking yourselves onto those local TV shows. But I think that's just beautiful for really any business model. Is don't shoot for the place that you want to go. Realize that there is going to be steps that it's going to take for you to get there, and do it smart, because you could spend 13 years going after, like, living literally in the space that you need, that you want to be a part of. And you know what, we even say this, tell me if I'm off here, but just because you even went there, by association of living in that environment, you lie to yourself that saying, well, I am here, it's just a matter of time before I'm discovered. And you can get stuck there without going through the proper channels that folks, some people, and again, this is, I think, the key here. Folks like you cannot just teach you the proper channels of how to get from A to Z, or even necessarily just A to B. Let's not even talk about Z yet, because again, Z is their story, and they're going to figure out B to Z themselves. But you can help them get from A to B in the same regard that you went from A to B. So you're teaching lessons and passing that legacy on. But that's not the key. The key isn't just to copy and replicate you. The key is to identify and adopt the mindset that you have to start chartering new courses that, you know what, you found your niche that you carved out, and that's brilliant. But they could find their own niche that they can carve out that maybe you haven't even thought of. But by teaching them the mindset, you are giving them the tools to find out how they can carve out into those individual niches. I think it's brilliant.
Hey man, I really, really enjoy this interview, and I've really enjoyed connecting with you during this whole piece that we've been doing today, because you really do get it. You really do. Because I was living in the Hollywood dream and I was getting nowhere. No one was kind enough to tell me anything. Even though I was paying acting lessons, even though I had an agent, I had a manager, I had an attorney, right? My manager, my agent was representing Kirstie Alley and Sigourney Weaver, and had previously represented George Clooney. Okay. My attorney was Jean-Claude Van Damme's attorney. None of them would tell me any of this stuff. Okay. Here's what the big secret. No one is looking to give you a break in Hollywood. You don't go to Hollywood to create a career. You go to Hollywood once you have a following and a big career. And you go to Hollywood to cross over from your niche. Like, for example, what's the guy's name? He's at Tyler Perry. Okay. Yes. He's the perfect example. Yeah. He had a little niche, right? Making films for African-American audiences. And he went to Hollywood to cross over. And that's what they can do. They can take somebody who has a following and they can give them a bigger audience, but they're never going to take a break. They're never going to take a chance and give an unknown person a break. No one's looking to do that. And no one told me that in Hollywood. There's a lot of things nobody told me in Hollywood. So don't go to Hollywood looking to break in. It's the wrong place. Go break in and get a career in Orlando. Go get a career in Miami. Go get a career in some little city. And then once you have something, then you can go. Now, the other thing is that a lot of people ask me, do you resent 13 years of wasted time in your life? And the answer to that question is no, because as a result of that 13 years, I learned the most important thing in business, which is something they don't teach you at the Wharton Business School. They don't teach it at USC Business School, because I've been a guest speaker at USC's Lloyd Grief Center for Entrepreneurial Studies. And I asked the professors, anybody ever talk about this? No, nobody's ever talked about it. I've spoken several times at events sponsored by the Entrepreneurship Club of Harvard Business School. And as far as I know, speaking to the president of that club, nobody talks about what I talk about at Harvard Business School. And that is, who you are is more important than what you actually do or sell. Let's just take a leap of faith, and let's just, for the sake of argument, say I was such an amazing actor, I was even better than Tom Cruise.
Sure.
Are they ever going to give me the $20 million that they would give Tom Cruise to star in a movie? No. Why not? Because I'm nobody and Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And after 56 television appearances, I wake up one day and I got a call on my voicemail from the Today Show. And I called them back right away, because I know they're not waiting around for Clint Arthur to call them back. They're looking to fill a slot on a show. And I call them back, and next thing I know, 4 days later, I'm on the Today Show, and Brooke Shields is interviewing Clint Arthur on the Today Show. And she says, Clint, you have a great message. You ask yourself a question every year at New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. What's that question? And I said, ask yourself, if this was going to be the last year of your life, what would you want to accomplish? That's been the superpower that has helped me to achieve all the great things that I've done in my life. That question took me all the way from being obese, with my business on the rocks, my marriage failing, to who I am today, having been on the Today Show. It took me all the way to the Today Show. And a lot of people could have been the person interviewing Clint Arthur on the Today Show. There's probably 1 million Columbia Journalism School graduates who they could have gotten for free to interview Clint Arthur on the Today Show, because they would have done it just for the opportunity.
Sure.
But instead, they paid Brooke Shields to ask me that question. Why? Because she's somebody, and all those journalism students are nobody.
Yeah,
and you got to get that. If you don't get that, then you're going to really struggle. You're going to be kidding yourself in your own entrepreneurial journey dream, the way I was kidding myself in my Hollywood dream, to think that if you're nobody, that you're going to be able to have an impact, because it's really like pushing a boulder up a hill if you're nobody. You want to make money today, you want to sell a lot of stuff, you want to sell a lot of services, a lot of products, a lot of tickets to your events, or copies of whatever you produce. You got to be somebody, because like Jack Canfield said, people don't buy stuff from people unless they're really excited to buy that thing from that person. And that's secret number 2 of this interview.
Yes,
I told you, you got to have unique positioning in the marketplace. You got to have the only this product or the only that product. Like my local TV publicity training is the only local TV publicity training in the world today still. Okay. Anybody else, there ain't nobody else doing local TV news and talk show training. But here's the other secret. The secret is, another way that you can achieve unique positioning in the marketplace is to create celebrity for your personal brand. Because there, there's a million magazines on lifestyle and how to live a happier life, but Oprah magazine is the one that a lot of people buy. Or Martha Stewart Living magazine is one that people buy, because of those celebrities who have attached their personal brand onto the product. And people talk about your personal brand a lot. Your personal brand is the same as BMW. BMW is a brand for a car. That's a business brand. Your personal brand is your full name. That's your personal brand. My personal brand is Clint Arthur. And when you go on Google, as probably many of you have already done who are watching this interview right now, go on Google, you're going to type in Clint Arthur. Who the hell is this guy? And you're going to see 4+ pages of my marketing showing up on Google. I control the whole thing. There's only one Google result that is for another Clint Arthur. And people have said, it's pretty good what I've accomplished, because Clint Arthur is not a unique name. There are quite a few Clint Arthurs in the world, but there's only one who has any presence on the first 5 pages of Google. And he's some guy who died. It's his obituary. So really, if you want to compete with Clint Arthur, this Clint Arthur in the marketplace, and your name is Clint Arthur, it's going to kill you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's really funny. Don't By the way, anyone that did that, please don't Google Mike Weiss, because unfortunately, I'm not the master like Clint, because there's literally like hundreds of millions of Mike Weisses, and very, very people that are a heck of a lot smarter than I am, doctors, Harvard presidents, and always the figure skater. So it's funny because my a girlfriend I used to have before I got married, obviously, was she made this nice calendar of all the Mike Weisses, and then I don't even think I was actually even in that calendar, which is hilarious. So yeah, I don't
Look,
control
I
that
think
Safescape.
I know Mike Weiss is a tough name. There are
It is.
definitely a lot more Mike Weisses than there are Clint Arthurs, but I
True.
really truly believe that I could help you to compete with that
I
if
bet you
were
could.
to do the 5 things that celebrity entrepreneurs do.
Yeah. Tell me, what are the 5 things celebrity entrepreneurs do?
Okay, well, I'm going to give them to you in the order of ease of accomplishing them.
Sure.
Okay. And all right, because I started with TV, but TV is not the easiest thing.
Yeah.
But it's definitely one of the 5. I put it at number 3. Going on TV is number 3 now. Okay. And then the first two things, the first easiest thing that I believe people need to do if they want to be perceived to be a celebrity in the eyes of their customers and prospects is to speak at very important places. And I told you, I've had the great privilege to share my message at Harvard Faculty Club, at USC Business School, at Mercedes, at NASDAQ, at even at West Point Military Academy. Wow. And these VIP speaking opportunities, you have to, whenever you're a speaker anywhere, you need to be taking photos and videos to use in your marketing, because those videos and photos are going to outlive that moment that you have on the stage. And if you don't get the good photos and videos, then you're wasting the whole opportunity. The second thing you can do is to get photos or videos with very important people, famous people. You look up.
You've
Clint
done a great
Arthur.
job of that. Yeah.
Look at the photo image results, and you'll see pictures of me with Snoop Dogg, Martha Stewart, Ice-T and Coco,
Oprah,
Dr. Oz, Oprah, Tony Robbins, who's not a celebrity, by the way. He's a celebrity to people who go to seminars, but
that's right.
very few people go to seminars compared to the whole world. I love celebrity attachment photos because for me, every time I meet a celebrity, I ask them my favorite question. Like, for example, Oprah. I said, Oprah, what's the most important thing you ever learned? And she said, you are responsible for your own success. Okay, so number 3 is TV. Number 4 is writing and promoting books to become bestsellers. That's essential. All major celebrities have books, and these are good, not so much to make money, although, you can make money with books. Like one of my students, Hal Elrod, wrote a book called The Miracle Morning. Do you know that book?
I don't, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you see how beautiful this is? Hal Elrod is a perfect example of a celebrity entrepreneur. He has sold more than 2 million copies of his books as self-published books, making $8 in royalties on each one. Do the math.
Wow.
And you usually don't make a lot of money selling books, but Hal Elrod has. And then my other massive success story, Kellyanne Petrucci, she's a nutritionist who has published 2 New York Times best-selling books. She's now a regular recurring guest on Dr. Oz every week. And she's sold a lot of books too. And she came to Celebrity Launchpad number 1 and number 6. So many people have come to Launchpad multiple times because you get better after you do lots of TV appearances. You get better. And having attended the seminar the first time, it's like a showcase. It's not like most seminars where you just sit there and take notes. At Celebrity Launchpad, you're pitching real producers. I guarantee at least 3 of those producers will invite you on their TV shows with ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. And we don't pay to go on TV shows. So you're going on TV for free. I teach you how to book yourself on as much TV for free as you want using my mathematical formula for how to get on TV anytime you want for free. And, hopefully you're going to go out there and be like a lot of my students who go on 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 plus television appearances. That's when you can start making some progress with your career once you start going on lots of shows.
Absolutely. And you know, can I just, and again, I want to be respectful of your time here. There's just like, oh, there's so much gold here. And the thing is, for any of our audience that is like, Mike, this is fantastic. And, you know, yeah, we've now Googled Clint and yeah, he's everywhere and he's done a great job. And now I understand, you know, what it is that we're talking about, but I have no interest in being a public speaker or going on TV. I just want to sell the supplements that Dropified gives me, or I just want to sell a new brand on e-commerce. And what I want to tell you guys is this, and I know Clint would probably jump in on this as well, but what I want to tell you guys is this, is that this strategy is exactly the same strategy that you use, not just for wanting to, you know, to become a, you know, the next celebrity entrepreneur or, you know, a public, you know, a fantastic, powerful public speaker, or even getting on TV. If you want to actually showcase the power of your story, you got to do this. Even right here, what Clint said, you got to do for free. You know what? You are not worth buying because no one knows who the heck you are, right? Get out there, do it for free, show people how you can help change their lives, show people the power. If you have a product, show people the power of your product, give it out there for free. Say, guys, I want you to try this and I want you to tell me, I want you to document what is going on while you are taking my product. And I don't care if that's a colon cleanse product or a gummy product or a CBD product or whatever it is, you can't charge that stuff for free and call it premium unless you're getting premium feedback from people to help you support that premium brand. That's first. Second is you have to make sure that you are learning from people that are doing this right, which means you have to, if you want to be the front runner on Google or on Facebook or wherever it is that you want to go, you got to figure out who the front runner is. What is it that they're doing? And don't just copy paste them, but make sure that you are grabbing whatever is working, attach your flavor and your story into it, and make sure it has the exact same power as that person has, which means you're probably going to have to pony up a little bit of dough because that stuff isn't free. It is not free for Clint to actually make sure that he's on the first 4 pages. It put a lot of work, a lot of money, and a lot of effort to get it to that point. So don't think you can just spin that around with $1 million because you can't. It takes time and trust. And again, you can't buy your way into people's hearts. 3 is making, so now we're talking about make sure you're giving it away for free so you can get the free testimonials from people that can help you support your brand and your story the way that you want it supported and told. Second, make sure that you are as much as possible getting out there and making sure that people can find you whenever that is that they're looking at whatever it is that you're selling in that specific market or niche, so that when they're trying to find things like, you know, Clint Arthur or public speaking, or if it's something around a product that you're selling, just get out there so that people are seeing you. They may not know who you are, but just make sure they're seeing you so that you can at least be present and dominant in that. And that's going to take time. But then the third thing, which I think is absolutely brilliant, is make sure that you are jumping out there and getting this in front of, and one thing that Clint said is celebrities, right? Using things like influencers or celebrities or people that can actually showcase what it is that you're selling, showcase what it is that you're doing, so that you're not having to do all the heavy lifting yourself. But even if you did all the heavy lifting yourself, no one's going to care because they don't know who you are. Find someone that people care about and who they know that they are, and they can represent your brand or represent your product properly, and make sure that they have the full knowledge and everything that you want them to do for that. And make sure that, because once you have that presence, people will start paying attention to the other things that they're seeing on Google, Facebook. Then they'll start paying attention to the other testimonials that you have that you've gotten for free that you started with. It all comes back to building your brand and building your story the way that you probably need to. And I love this. Now, there is one final secret, and I told you this, that this is how you
Hold on a second. Sorry,
go ahead, Clint. Yeah.
Okay. Now I mentioned this is really going to help a lot of people to get this. Okay. I mentioned Tony Robbins. Now, when I first started becoming a coach, what I was promoting was my own life experience, transformation experience called the Last Year of Your Life experience, where I would lead people through 52-week transformation experience of living the last year of your life. And I started out wanting to do a live event in Las Vegas, and I picked a date and I started doing research, and lo and behold, I saw, holy cow, Tony Robbins is doing his own seminar, Unleash the Power Within.
That's right.
In Los Angeles. The same weekend I wanted to do my seminar, Last Year of Your Life, in Vegas. And I thought to myself, Why is anybody going to pay me $500 to go to my seminar in Vegas when they could go to Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins in Los Angeles the same year, the same weekend for only $600? Why would they do that? And I realized I was competing head to head with Tony Robbins. Now that's a pretty daunting thing. And it's the same thing for anybody who's doing your supplements or your bars or your whatever private label thing you're doing, whatever white label thing that you're doing with Dropified. You're competing with the major brands. And you have to ask yourself the question, why should anybody buy yours versus theirs? And I was smart enough to say, well, look, I need to start becoming a celebrity now so that I can compete effectively one day with Tony Robbins. Now that was 10 years ago that I did my first TV appearance. And when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The second best time is today, because you've got to start this process. And, you know, today, Tony Robbins is still not a celebrity, and I'm a celebrity entrepreneur. That doesn't mean anybody knows who I am. I don't have any paparazzi. I don't have any people who know me except for my customers and prospects, and they think that I'm worth paying a lot of money. And the great news is that you will be amazed if you start doing these things, going on TV, speaking at very important places, getting pictures with celebrities. And I'm not talking about influencers unless you're like trying to make, you know, your own wetsuit and you get pictures with professional surfers. That could work. But I'm talking about major celebrities who everybody knows, Mick Jagger, Caitlyn Jenner, these kinds of people. And writing best-selling books on your topic of expertise and winning awards. These are the 5 things that celebrity entrepreneurs do. And you got to start now. And what else? What the hell else are you going to be able to do that's going to cost you less money than that? I mean, you know, the other alternative is to start paying celebrities to be your spokesperson. That costs a lot of money. Or to do lots and lots and lots and lots of video advertising on Facebook and YouTube. And I don't know how effective that really is. I personally have spent $250,000 on that stuff and can only attribute 65,000 in sales. So maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe I'm just stupid, you know?
I just don't think you are, Clint. I think you're giving some secrets here, man. This is great. And I want to
be amazed. You'll be amazed how quickly, if you start doing this stuff and standing out in the marketplace, how it's going to start adding zeros to your bank account. You'll really be amazed.
I love it. I love it. Now, Clint, we have talked about this at the beginning, the number one secret to how you can create meaning with powerful stories of your life. And I know you want to sink into that right now.
I do.
But before we do that, I do want to just make sure everyone that is listening to this episode, like we do on all episodes, but a very special bonus for this one especially, is if you are in a position where you are wanting to make a change, go ahead. If you are wanting to make a change happen, and you want to start building out your brand, and you want it to either be your name, or you want to start thinking about how you can get the right brands out there to audiences when it comes to supplements, CBD, skincare, or pet supplement products, I will tell you, there is no faster way with like the least amount of financial risk than with Dropified. And so what we do is we've actually opened up, it's a $2,400 a year program that we are now actually giving for only $197 a month. There's no commitments to it. All it is $197 a month. You get access to the platform, and you get access to all the white label catalog that you can put in, as well as for anyone that just sucks at design, because that's your excuse. Mike, I would do it, but I suck at design. You know what? I'm actually going to throw in over 100 different label design templates that our in-house team has used. So this isn't coming from Pinterest, Fiverr, Upwork, 99 Designs, or really we're not even stealing from anyone else's. All we've done, we've accumulated over 100 plus label design templates that you can use, you can grab, throw in your own information on there, your company, product, benefits, whatever. And if your excuse is saying, well, Mike, I might be okay at design, that makes sense, but I suck at marketing. Well, guess what? I'm also going to throw in the Supplement Secret Mini course. And what it is I'm going to show you things that very few people are doing right now, except for the big boys. And I'm going to actually walk through the top 6 native ad platforms that you can be using to cross market with other platforms like Facebook and Google. It's a full walkthrough on every single one of these things. And I'm going to throw that in as well. Again, $197 per month, just because you're listening to this episode. But that's not it. If you are wanting to learn underneath Clint's tutelage, I want Clint, if it's okay, sorry, I'm being demanding now, but I would love for you to speak about MBA. What the heck is Million Dollar Business Accelerator? What are these events that are coming up? If someone's saying, you know what, I am just sick of living the life that I'm living right now, and I should have planted that tree 20 years ago. And sure as hell, if I'm going to not plant it right now, but I need some help, how do they do that? Through MBA?
Thank you. That's a very important question for anybody who really wants to make something happen in their career, because right now in the world, not much is happening. But as I said, I've done 9 events just since August. And the biggest one I did was 137 people with Dr. Oz and Evander Holyfield and the Surgeon General at CNN Center. Now, I've got some events coming up. The MBA is the $1 Million Business Accelerator. It's for authors, speakers, coaches, experts, consultants, advisors, anybody who is an expert or an entrepreneur and wants to build some of these assets, the 5 key assets that celebrity entrepreneurs use. That's what I do. Because see, I'm still doing it myself. I need to do VIP speaking at very important places, going on TV, meeting celebrities. I need to do that stuff. And in order to meet celebrities and speak at very important places, I need lots of other people to do it with me, because this way we have an audience for the videos that we make when we're speaking at the very important places. And I can afford to pay the celebrities lots of money, which is what they require in order to make personal appearances.
That's right.
And that's why I built this $1 Million Business Accelerator. This is for successful entrepreneurs and experts who want to go to the next level using VIP speaking and celebrity attachment photos and videos. And the upcoming events I have are in December, like just in a few weeks. I have one at the New York Academy of Medicine with the New York City Police Commissioner, Bernie Kerik, who's on Fox News Channel all the time. And then in the end of March, I have the Royal Society of Medicine and the London Stock Exchange in London with Nigel Farage, who created the Brexit Party movement. He's the person responsible for taking Britain out of the European Union, and he'll be there taking photos with us at the London Stock Exchange. And then in May, I have Dog the Bounty Hunter. You know who that is?
I do, yeah.
Everybody does.
That's incredible.
I have Dog the Bounty Hunter coming to my event in Las Vegas, and I will be adding other major celebrities to that event. So all of this is MBA. Go to clint.com, C-L-I-N-T-T-T, Clint with 3 T's.com. And you can find out more about me and about MBA, and you can apply for the MBA program. It's free to apply, but I can't necessarily accept you. If you fill out the application, honestly, I'll evaluate you and see if it's right for you. If it's right for you, then we'll hop on a call and make sure that we're a good fit. That's what that's all about. We're going into the meaning of life. I want to get to the meaning of life.
Let's do it. That's what we're going next to, man.
Okay.
What's the meaning of life?
How do you get to the meaning of life? Through your storytelling. This is my real philosophy. And in Acapulco, usually the masterminds that I'm doing in Acapulco, the first 3 days are on your storytelling, your stories. What stories are you going to tell? Because people are like, I don't know what to say at these speaking events. And that's why I do these storytelling masterminds, to come up with your stories, because that's what you're going to talk about, your stories of your life. There's a million people who could talk about chemical reactions. There's a million people who could talk about the legal ramifications of X, Y, and Z. There's a million people who are nutrition experts or medical doctors. You don't talk about information. You tell your story. That's what speakers do. And the first 3 days of my masterminds in Acapulco are storytelling masterminds. Then after that, I have what I call selfie mastery, and that is taking photos and videos for your marketing using your smartphone and doing it all yourself. And I reveal my secrets of how I run my whole 7-figure business, transforming people all around the world. And I do it all myself. I don't have any employees, 0. I don't want the headaches. I don't want the responsibility. I don't want to have to figure out how to keep them busy. I'd rather just do it myself. And I work hard. And I asked Martha Stewart, Martha, do rich people work hard? And she said, every self-made rich person I've ever met has worked extremely hard. Yes. And I asked Ice-T, I said, Ice-T, do rich people work hard? And he goes, man, you'll be on the yacht party. partying on top of the yacht, drinking, drink on. And then the guy who owns the yacht, he'll be downstairs making business calls.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not afraid to admit that I work hard. I work very hard, but I want to make a lot of money. And that's why I do it. So how do you get the meaning? Well, this is my real honest philosophy. And I'm so glad this is your question. You asked me this question. You go and you speak. And a lot of times I go and speak and I'll make 6 figures or I'll make 5 figures from 30 minutes on the stage or 20 minutes on the stage. And sometimes I won't make anything. But every time I go, I talk, and what do I do? What do I talk about? I talk about my stories. And my personal belief, and I sincerely believe this, is that if all I get from a speaking event is the opportunity to tell my story and to deepen my own personal understanding of my life and what is the meaning of the stories of my life, then I win automatically. And you want to find out what's the meaning of your life, you have to look at your life. You got to look back over your life and try to connect the dots. You can't connect the dots in advance. You can only connect the dots going backwards. And it's connecting those dots through the storytelling of the events in your life that allows you to discover the true meaning of your life.
Oh, brilliant. That's brilliant. Man. I love it. Because honestly, man, and again, we could talk all day on it, and I want to be respectful of your time here, but isn't it true, right? So many people want to move forward, but you can't move forward without really knowing why you're moving forward or where you came from all the time, right? And because the problem is that, like you had said earlier, you could be moving forward in a 13-year cycle where you're telling yourself that this is it. This is exactly where I need to be. This is exactly, someone's going to find me. And I'm thinking about your time in LA where you're not actually connecting the dots at all. You're just saying, as long as I get there, the answer's there, right? I don't care where I've come from. I don't care what mistakes I made. I just need to get here. Because once I'm here, everything's going to be taken care of. Someone's going to pick me up. Someone's going to answer my questions for me. And that's it. But when people actually get you in a room and they say, hey, listen, who are you? And what are you about? And if you can't answer that question, well, I'm sorry, you're not getting past any doors. And that's actually why you went to that place, LA in the first place, is to get past certain doors. But people don't want to work with someone that doesn't know who they are, unless they're willing to take advantage of them, or unless they're willing to actually exploit them for their own individual purposes, which again is a whole nother thing. But what we're talking about here is mastering your story, which I think is probably one of the most powerful things that anyone can do in business, outside of business, in relationships, outside of relationships, like period.
I'm very lucky that when I was in high school, I studied, there was one elective class in my whole high school. I went to Stuyvesant High School in New York City. The one elective class was creative writing with a teacher who was just some guy from Brooklyn. His name was Frank McCourt. And he wrote a little book called Angela's Ashes, which you've heard of that book?
I've read Angela's Ashes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that was my creative writing teacher in high school for 2 years, Frank McCourt. And he won the Pulitzer Prize for his memoir about his impoverished childhood in Ireland. And he used to tell us the same thing. I love that class. Every day I would go there. He would just tell stories every day. And then he would say, look, you got to talk about and write about what you know. And the only thing you really know is your own life. And I believe in this life, it is mean, cutthroat, dangerous, vicious world out there. And you got to use everything you got, every weapon, every tool, every piece of value that you can scrape up in your life. You've got to use it and bring it to bear in order for you to have any kind of chance of success in this world. And what do you really know? See, everything that I've talked about in this interview here, these are not things that I believe. These are things that I know. I only talk about what I know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in the world that I'm not qualified to talk about, and I don't talk about it. I only talk about the stuff that I really, really know. And it's all from my own personal life experience and things that I have learned because of the pain and the cuts and the blood and the sweat and the tears that have come through it. And the thing that you know best is your own life. And if you're not using that as a way to compete, then man, it's like fighting with both hands tied behind your back because you're not using all the valuable resources that you have, the weapons, your stories, your personal stories are your most powerful weapons that you have in marketing. They're free, and you got to learn how to tell them. You got to learn how to tell them in a way that's going to compel people to remember who you are and find out more about you and consider actually buying from you.
I love that. Well, and guys, you know, probably just to tie it up here, don't be afraid of if your story is a mess. I've used this before, but you know, I think it's TD Jakes that said it. There's, you know, your mess is part of your message. The mess is part of the message. And don't be afraid if it's a messy story, because it's your story. And
you have to have a messy story. Your mess becomes your success.
Yeah,
your
like
adversity becomes your advantage.
Yeah.
And like TD Jakes says, your mess becomes your message. And if you don't have a message, then you don't have a message.
That's right.
And the whole world is all about messages. So thank you very much for this opportunity to share my message with your audience. And again, for those who want to find out more, go to clintwith3ts.com.
And we'll also put that down below. Thank you so much, Clint. Thank you, everyone watching. And thank you for tuning in with us. And please stay tuned for our next episode. But Clint, it's been such a pleasure chatting with you today.
Same here, Mike.
All right. Take care. Hello again, Ecom Masters. Mike Weiss here again with a big thank you for sticking with us to the end of this episode. I know how valuable your time is, and I want to congratulate you for setting yourself apart from the pack by investing your attention into this podcast. Now, make sure to maximize this time by taking notes while it's still fresh, listening to the episode multiple times if you need to, and implementing what you have learned right away into your own business. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more training and want to learn the step-by-step methodology that you need to build the e-com business of your dreams, I want you to join me for an exclusive invite-only training that I'm only giving specifically for podcast listeners. Now, in it, we're going to share the secrets of what we've used to scale Dropified into the 2019 5,000 number 55 fastest growing company in America. You will not find this information anywhere else, guaranteed. To get immediate 100% free access, all you got to do is go to dropified.com/podcast-special, or just click the link below and in the show notes, and I will see you on the other side.